Making soups is a really simple way for people to start to learn how to cook, and there's no more easy one than this one I'm about to show you now. It's a Thai soup called Tom Yum with some very straightforward ingredients that you really cannot mess it up. So we're going to start off with chicken stock. Now I'm using fresh chicken stock today, but you can just as easily go out to your local supermarket, pick up an organic chicken stock. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to bring that broth up to the boil. Now the first ingredient that I'm going to prep is lemongrass. If you're not familiar with it, it's extremely flavoursome. I'm just going to trim that little end off. Now a lot of the flavour is in the centre, so the easy way to get it out, back of the knife. Just like that. Now it's a little bit sort of woody and tough, so what you want to do is just cut it lengthways, and you want to really dice it as thinly as you can. Garlic, again, just dicing it. Next ingredient that we're going to use is ginger. Just gently peel away that edge. Just by using the spoon, all the nutrients just below the skin don't get lost. We're just going to give this, again, into thin slices. Now with the chili, just cutting it in half lengthwise. Using the spoon, we're going to remove those little seeds. I'm going to go with one whole one today because we want it pretty spicy. So that's pretty much all my little ingredients that I need to chop up ready. The soup is just coming up to the boil, so I'm just going to drop those into the broth. So I'm also going to turn that heat right down so we have a really nice even heat. And we want that to sort of tick over and simmer for about 10-15 minutes, just so all those flavours really do come out nicely. Next thing that I'm going to add in there are lime leaves. Again, very prevalent in Eastern cooking. I'm going to take out the root, because that's just ever so slightly bitter, and just break those in. I'm also, at this stage, going to pop in the juice of 2 limes, so laying it flat on the chopping board, pushing down just to extract that juice, and cutting it in half. Just a little squeeze. I find that Tom Yum is a sort of soup that you can play around with it, whatever your preferences are. Like I would like mine particularly sour, so I'd probably add in a little bit of extra lime juice and more chili. But if you're not fond of the hot stuff, just leave the chili out completely. You can really play around with it. I'm also going to add in my mushrooms at this stage. Now, next up, 2 ingredients that are very common in Thai cooking. First up, fish sauce. Quite strong, distinctive smell. Next one, soy sauce. Again, quite salty, the soy sauce, so that's going to help to season the whole soup. Now you can see that that soup is barely just ticking over, simmering away. And as it does that for the next 10 minutes, we're going to start prepping those prawns that we're using today. Now, working with prawns, you want to make sure they're nice and clean. So the first thing you want to do is, before you even start cooking, when you're in the shop, don't be scared to go along and just have a little smell. They smell absolutely fresh. There's no sort of fishy smell there at all. Really good. Don't even waste your time buying cooked prawns or anything for this, because these really do add so much. And what we want to do is just run the knife down the back of the prawn. And if you have a look inside, that's where their little intestine would be sometimes. So you just want to pull that out and just make sure it's really nice and clean. So the soup's been ticking over there for about 10 minutes. What I'm going to do, crucially now, is turn it off. In go the prawns. Now there really is enough heat in there just to warm them up. I'll leave them for about 3 minutes. And what you'll end up with is really little sort of succulent prawns that'll be really juicy and tasty. At this stage, I'm also going to chop coriander. I really wasn't joking when I said that this was an easy soup. Start to finish, about 25 minutes. Don't worry about chopping it too fine. It's sort of a rustic dish, this, so just pop that in at the very last minute, the coriander. If you pop it in too early, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with sort of brown, discoloured coriander, which is no good. Also, thinly chopped spring onions. In that goes. You'll basically know that the prawns are cooked when they take on that lovely pink colour. So they've just been in there for about 2 minutes, and that's literally it. The simplest soup you could ever imagine. Really, really packed full of nutrients. Just play around with it. Add in whatever you want with regards to heat, sourness. And just pour that lovely fragrant cooking liquor over all those lovely little ingredients. It just relies on all those lovely clean flavors, and I think you'll agree that it's really, really quick to make. As soon as you smell it, you'll love all those flavors, and it's a really, really delicious tom yum soup.